Listen to me carefully. The most dangerous thing in life is not a woman who is evil, not a woman who is cruel, but a woman who is too nice. Because niceness without wisdom is an invitation for abuse. Have you noticed that the women who give everything, who never say no, who bend until they break, are often the ones who end up standing alone? And you ask yourself why? It is because life does not reward those who beg for love. Life rewards those who understand their value. A woman must never confuse her kindness with her calling. Just because you have a soft heart does not mean you are called to be trampled on. The reason nice women are left alone is not because they lack beauty or compassion. It is because they lack boundaries. And let me tell you this, boundaries are the language of self-respect. If you do not teach people how to treat you, they will decide for themselves. The power of a woman is not in her ability to cling, but in her ability to detach. Detachment is not rejection, it is revelation. It reveals that you are not desperate, that you are not dependent, that you are not afraid to walk away from anything that does not honor who you are. The most dangerous woman is not the one who cries for love, but the one who can live without it until it aligns with her destiny. When a woman knows her purpose, she becomes unshakable. She stops chasing relationships and begins attracting destiny connections. Men are not inspired by a woman who gives everything away cheaply. Men are inspired by a woman who knows her worth, who refuses to compromise, who walks with the quiet authority of someone who has already been approved by God. Niceness may win people's attention, but confidence wins their respect. And respect is the foundation of love. Hear me. The reason nice women end up alone is because they traded their crown for acceptance. But when you choose strength over neediness, when you choose purpose over approval, when you choose detachment over desperation, you rise into a place where loneliness cannot touch you, because your fulfillment no longer depends on who stays or who leaves. Kindness without boundaries leads to misuse. And this truth must be understood at the deepest level if a woman is ever going to walk in her true authority. When a woman confuses being nice with being needed, she begins to give pieces of herself away without realizing that what she is offering is not being valued, it is being consumed. There is a profound difference between a gift and a sacrifice. A gift is something you offer freely with wisdom, while a sacrifice is something torn from you because you do not know how to say no. Many women have mistaken the softness of their spirit for a calling to endure mistreatment, but that is not the will of God. Niceness in itself is not power. Niceness without boundaries becomes a weakness that attracts users, manipulators, and people who do not have the capacity to honor what you carry. A woman who does not set limits becomes a woman who teaches the world how to devalue her. The absence of boundaries sends a message louder than words. It tells others that you are willing to tolerate anything as long as you are not abandoned. But abandonment is not the greatest danger, misuse is. When people misuse you, they don't just waste your time, they drain your essence. They strip away your confidence piece by piece until you begin to wonder whether your niceness is a curse. But the truth is not that your kindness is wrong. It is that your kindness has no guardrails. Without boundaries, kindness becomes a currency in the wrong hands, and people will spend it until there is nothing left of you. Consider this, even God, who is love itself, established boundaries. He set the oceans within shores. He divided light from darkness. He placed seasons in their order. Boundaries are divine. They are not barriers to love. They are protectors of value. If God himself designed creation with order, why would you imagine that you, as his daughter, could survive without structure in your relationships? When you allow your niceness to flow without direction, you are living outside the divine pattern. It is not holy to be walked over. It is not righteous to let others consume you until you disappear. True holiness is wholeness, and wholeness requires you to protect the treasure within you. People respect what they cannot easily access. This is a principle that governs human nature. If your time, your energy, and your heart are always on sale, then no one will pay attention to their worth. A woman who is endlessly available will always be taken for granted. Why? Because value is tied to limitation. Diamonds are precious because they are rare. Gold is valuable because it cannot be found everywhere. And yet, how many women diminish their worth by making themselves too common in the name of being nice? Niceness without wisdom causes you to cheapen yourself. You keep giving, hoping someone will finally see your heart, but instead they see only an open door to take more from you. And here lies the painful truth. The very thing you thought would keep you loved becomes the thing that leaves you alone. Because when you give too much without boundaries, people will leave once they have consumed all they can. They are not leaving because you are unworthy. They are leaving because you trained them to take without giving back. You must understand, people cannot misuse what you refuse to make available without cost. Niceness is not the problem. It is niceness without limits. It is giving without discernment. It is opening your heart to everyone, even to those who have no intention of valuing it. Let me take you deeper. When you have no boundaries, your niceness becomes a silent cry for validation. You want to be accepted, so you do whatever it takes to keep others around. You sacrifice your voice, your dignity, even your dreams, thinking that if you are nice enough, they will stay. But listen carefully, love that must be purchased with sacrifice of self is not love, it is slavery. If you must lower yourself in order to keep someone, then you are not in a relationship, you are in bondage. And bondage is never rewarded with true companionship. That is why many women who pride themselves on being endlessly nice often find themselves alone. They gave everything and received nothing in return. They confused unconditional love with unconditional access. Even in the kingdom of God, access is conditional. Not everyone can walk into the Holy of Holies. Not everyone can handle the weight of glory. Access requires preparation, respect, and responsibility. If God requires these things, why should you not require them in your own life? Your kindness should be holy, which means it should be set apart for those who are worthy of it. To allow everyone unlimited access to your heart is to profane what God has sanctified. The world does not need another nice woman who has no voice. The world needs women who know how to guard their treasure while still walking in compassion. Understand this principle. Boundaries do not repel love. They refine it. When you set standards, you are not pushing people away, you are filtering them. Boundaries are how you discover who truly values you, because only those willing to honor your limits are worthy of your presence. If a man walks away because you set boundaries, he was never committed to your worth, he was committed to your weakness. And when he can no longer exploit your weakness, he will leave. That is not rejection, it is protection. Do not mourn when someone exits your life after you establish boundaries. Rejoice because you have just been delivered from misuse. There is a lie many women believe, that if they stop being so nice, they will end up alone. But here is the truth. Without boundaries, you will end up lonelier than you ever imagined, because you will be surrounded by people who are only there to use you. It is better to stand alone in dignity than to be surrounded in dishonor. Loneliness with self-respect is not emptiness, it is preparation. It is the sacred space where God shapes you into someone who cannot be broken by flattery or deceived by temporary affection. When a woman learns to set boundaries, her kindness becomes strength instead of weakness. She can still be compassionate, but she is not consumed. She can still give, but she is not exploited. She can still love, but she does not lose herself. That is the power of wisdom. Wisdom teaches you that every seed you sow must be planted in good soil. If you keep scattering kindness on rocky ground, do not be surprised when nothing grows. The seed is not bad, but the soil cannot receive it. So I say again, kindness without boundaries leads to misuse. And until you understand that principle, you will confuse your niceness with your identity, and you will continue to attract those who have no respect for your soul. But the moment you decide that your kindness will no longer be unguarded, you step into a higher level of authority. Your relationships change, your atmosphere changes, and your destiny changes. because you have finally chosen to protect the treasure that God placed within you. Detachment reveals strength, not weakness, and it is one of the greatest tests of identity and self-worth. When a woman learns how to detach, she is not proving that she does not care. She is proving that her care has limits, that her heart is not enslaved by dependency. Detachment is not the absence of love. It is the presence of wisdom. It is the ability to say, I will not allow my value to be diminished simply to maintain a connection. And many women never discover this power because they are conditioned to believe that love is proven by how tightly they hold on, how long they wait, how much they endure. But the truth is this: anyone can cling, but only the strong can release. To detach is to declare, I am not afraid of being without you because I was whole before you arrived. That is not arrogance. That is identity. If your sense of worth rises and falls with the presence of another person, then you are not living from your source. You are living from your shadow. Shadows disappear when the light changes, but true identity, rooted in God, does not shift with circumstances. That is why detachment is a sign of strength. It shows that your soul is anchored in something greater than approval, greater than attention, greater than the fear of being alone. Weakness clings because it fears loss. Strength releases because it trusts provision. A woman who cannot detach reveals that she does not believe in her own ability to be sustained without the other. And so she endures dishonor. She tolerates neglect. She accepts crumbs because she fears that if she walks away, she will starve emotionally. But what she does not realize is that clinging to what diminishes her is the real starvation. It is the slow death of her soul, disguised as companionship. Detachment, then, becomes a form of nourishment. It feeds her dignity. It restores her sense of worth. It tells her spirit that she is not defined by who stayed or who left, but by who she was created to be. Think of the eagle. When the eaglet grows, the mother does not keep it in the nest out of fear. She forces it to fly, even if it resists. She tears the nest apart, making it uncomfortable, pushing the eaglet into the wind. Why? Because if it does not detach from the nest, it will never discover its wings. And many women trapped in cycles of unhealthy relationships remain in nests that no longer serve them. They mistake comfort for safety, when in reality it is bondage. Detachment is that moment of courage when you leap into the unknown and discover you were born to soar. It is important to understand that detachment is not coldness. It is not shutting down your ability to feel. It is refining your ability to discern. It is saying, I can love you. I will not lose myself to keep you. I can care for you, but I will not be consumed by you. I can walk with you, but I can also walk without you if you refuse to honor me. This posture is not weakness. It is divine balance. Only the strong can draw that line because it requires trust in God's sufficiency rather than human presence. Most women have been taught that being strong means holding everything together, never letting go, enduring endlessly. But in truth, the greatest strength is found in release. To release someone who does not value you is to declare that your destiny is not tied to their presence. To release a situation that drains you is to affirm that your future is too important to be sacrificed on the altar of temporary comfort. Detachment is not the end of love. It is the beginning of self-respect. And let us go deeper. Emotional detachment is not just about relationships with people. It is about breaking free from the need for validation. Many women are attached to the opinions of others. They cannot move unless someone approves. They cannot rest unless someone affirms. Their joy rises and falls with comments, reactions, and applause. But this is bondage. If your peace can be stolen by the absence of affirmation, then you are not free. Detachment from opinion is one of the highest forms of strength because it proves that you are no longer living to be accepted. You are living to be authentic. Spiritual detachment is even deeper. It is the posture that says, my identity is not in this relationship, this status, this role, or this season. My identity is anchored in God alone. When you detach from earthly dependencies, you discover a freedom that cannot be manipulated. People can come and go, seasons can change, opportunities can open and close, but you remain unshaken because your worth was never tied to them in the first place. This kind of detachment is not indifference, it is invincibility. Imagine the woman who is not afraid to walk away. She is not rude, she is not bitter, she is not hardened, she is simply free. She can love without losing herself, and she can give without being enslaved. She is not desperate for attention because she knows her presence is already a gift. She does not chase because she understands that what is aligned with her destiny will pursue her. This is strength. This is power. This is the kind of authority that makes others respect her without her having to demand it. Detachment also exposes motives. When you are willing to let go, you see who was truly with you for you and who was only with you for what you provided. Those who were attached to your weakness will leave when you grow strong. Those who were attached to your sacrifice will vanish when you establish boundaries. But those who were attached to your essence will remain because they value you beyond what you can give. Without detachment, you will never know the difference. You will live in confusion, surrounded by people who clap for you publicly but drain you privately. Detachment clears the fog. It separates pretenders from partners. So many women fear detachment because they confuse it with abandonment. But abandonment is something done to you. Detachment is something done for you. Abandonment is rejection. Detachment is protection. When you choose to detach, you are not being discarded. You are being elevated. You are saying, I am too valuable to remain in a place that diminishes me. That is strength, that is courage, and that is wisdom. Even Jesus demonstrated detachment. He loved the crowds, but he was not controlled by them. He performed miracles, but when they tried to crown him before his time, he withdrew. He detached from their expectations so he could remain faithful to his purpose. If the Son of God modeled detachment, then surely you must understand that your destiny too requires it. You cannot fulfill your purpose if you are chained to people who are threatened by your growth. Detachment is the bridge between where you are and where you are meant to be. So let it be clear, detachment does not prove that you are cold-hearted. It proves that you are wholehearted. It shows that you are complete, whether or not others remain by your side. It reveals that you are sustained by something greater than attention, greater than companionship, greater than temporary affection. Detachment is strength disguised as silence, power disguised as stillness, and wisdom disguised as surrender. It is not weakness, it is freedom. It is dignity. It is the quiet authority of a woman who knows she was never created to beg for love, but to embody it. You said expand key point 3 in 1,000 words without headings and don't add ending remarks. ChatGPT said, when a woman lives for her God-given assignment, she becomes magnetic to those aligned with her destiny. Purpose has a pull, and it is stronger than charm, stronger than beauty, stronger than any form of manipulation. Too often, women believe that their value is tied to what they can do for others, how well they can serve, how attractive they can appear, how much they can sacrifice. But true attraction is not born out of effort. It flows naturally from identity. A woman who knows her assignment carries a light within her, and that light draws those who are meant to walk with her. In contrast, dependency has the opposite effect. It repels because it carries the odor of desperation, and desperation always weakens influence. Purpose is the foundation of dignity. A woman who understands her assignment cannot be easily swayed by attention or flattery. She is not impressed by empty words because she measures everything by alignment with her calling. She can ask, does this relationship push me closer to what God has placed inside me, or does it distract me from it? That question is the mark of wisdom. Many nice women end up alone because they spend years attaching themselves to men, friendships, and circles that do not honor their purpose. They sacrificed their calling for companionship, not realizing that when you sacrifice purpose for people, you eventually lose both. People drift away and your calling grows dim, leaving you with emptiness. But when a woman makes purpose her priority, something shifts. She begins to radiate a kind of authority that cannot be explained. Her very presence communicates direction. She does not even need to demand respect, because respect rises naturally in the atmosphere around her. Those who are intimidated by her strength may walk away, but those designed by God to partner with her will be drawn to her, not for what she gives away cheaply, but for the value she protects. Purpose attracts alignment. It is like a frequency in the spirit. Only those tuned to it can hear the sound. Dependency, on the other hand, creates a void. It says, I need you in order to feel complete. And nothing repels healthy connection faster than the weight of neediness. A man may be flattered by constant attention, but eventually he will feel suffocated. Why? Because dependency drains while purpose sustains. When a woman leans too heavily on another person for her sense of self, she becomes an emotional burden rather than an inspiration. Love was never designed to carry the full weight of your identity. Only God can carry that. If you place that burden on another human being, you will crush the relationship under the weight of your own insecurity. Purpose, however, is life-giving. A woman who knows why she exists brings clarity to everyone connected to her. She challenges them to rise higher, to think deeper, to dream greater. Her presence is not a drain, but a catalyst. People leave her company feeling stronger, not weaker, because she is not pulling from them to fill her emptiness. She is overflowing from the abundance of her calling. This is why some women, without ever chasing relationships, find themselves surrounded by quality people. It is not because they begged for attention. It is because they pursued their assignment with such passion that it drew the right hearts toward them. Think about Ruth. She did not cling to Boaz out of desperation. She lived out her assignment with faithfulness, gleaning in the fields, fulfilling her responsibilities with integrity. And it was in the process of fulfilling her assignment that Boaz saw her. He was drawn to her not because she chased him, but because her purpose revealed her character. That is the principle. Purpose reveals who you are, and those who are aligned with your destiny will recognize it. Chasing men or clinging to relationships cannot create that. Only living fully in your assignment can. Dependency will always whisper, if I let go, I will be alone. But purpose declares, if I stand in who I am, the right people will find me. A woman consumed by dependency tries to keep people through performance. Cooking more, giving more, serving more, tolerating more. She becomes exhausted, trying to maintain love through effort. But love that must be maintained through performance is not love at all. It is slavery disguised as companionship. In contrast, purpose does not exhaust you. It energizes you. When you live out your calling, you are no longer begging to be noticed. You are too busy fulfilling destiny. And while you are in motion, the right people notice. The right ones do not require you to shrink. They are inspired when you expand. Purpose also protects a woman from counterfeits. When you know your assignment, you immediately recognize when someone is not aligned. You can say, this man may be charming, but he cannot walk with me where God is taking me. Without purpose, you will confuse chemistry for compatibility. Chemistry is easy. It is the spark, the attraction, the emotion. But compatibility requires alignment in vision, in values, in calling. And without purpose, you will never know the difference. You will bind yourself to people who excite you temporarily but derail you permanently. A woman who knows her assignment walks with a different posture. She does not settle for temporary comfort at the expense of her future. She does not shrink her dreams to make someone else feel big. She does not silence her voice to keep peace. She understands that peace without purpose is bondage, and so she chooses to walk in her assignment, even if it means walking alone for a season, because she knows that walking alone with purpose is better than walking together without it. There is a divine magnetism in purpose. Cannot be faked, and it cannot be manufactured. It is not about pretending to be confident. It is about truly knowing who you are and why you are here. That authenticity draws people who are hungry for truth, for substance, for meaning. In the same way, it repels those who are shallow, those who seek to manipulate, those who fear strength. And that is not a loss, it is protection. If someone is repelled by your purpose, they were never meant to walk with you. Dependency, however, creates distortion. It blinds your discernment. When you are desperate, you will accept anything just to fill the void. You will call attention love, and you will call control care. You will settle for crumbs because you are afraid to wait for the feast. That is the tragedy of dependency. It traps women in cycles of unfulfilling relationships where they keep giving and receiving nothing, hoping that their sacrifice will eventually turn into love. But sacrifice without recognition becomes